Have you ever stopped to think about how a whole country actually plans its future? I mean, it's not just about politics, right? It's about a detailed 5-year game plan for literally everything, from the economy all the way down to education. Okay, let's get into it.
Right. That's the big question we're going to tackle. We're going to look at a really fascinating case study of national ambition, of strategy, all laid out in one huge, super important document.
And specifically, we're diving into the plan for the Lao People's Democratic Republic. Now, they've just wrapped up one 5-year plan and are getting ready for the next one, which is going to take them all the way to 2030. So to really get where they're going, you first have to understand where they've been. So let's start by checking out the report card for the 9th 5-year plan. This one covered the years 2021 to 2025. And, like any good review, it's a story of some pretty big wins and some tough lessons learned. And you got to give them credit. There were some genuinely impressive achievements. Even with all the global chaos, the pandemic, economic instability, Laos still managed to make some really significant strides forward. And the numbers really tell the story here. Public revenue collection, they absolutely crushed their target, hitting 140%. The economy grew at a pretty solid clip, and their agricultural exports just soared. But maybe most importantly, the country met the criteria to graduate from the UN's list of least developed countries. That is a huge milestone. But of course, that's only half the story. The plan also ran headfirst into some serious obstacles that had a very real impact on people's lives and, of course, on the country's finances. And this right here really paints a picture of one of the biggest shortfalls. So while the economy did grow, that target for GDP per capita of almost $2,900, well, they didn't hit it. The projected reality is just over $2,100. So why the massive gap? A huge factor was the severe drop in value of their local currency, the Lao Kip, which basically ate away at the value of that growth. And this number, wow, it's pretty stark. Back in 2022, public debt ballooned to 112% of the entire country's economic output. Now, they have brought it down since then, but a figure that high, well, it signals immense financial pressure and really limits what the government can invest in. The challenges weren't just economic either. This chart shows a really worrying trend in education. Dropout rates for both lower and upper secondary school actually went up over the 5 years. Economic hardship just forced so many students, and even teachers, to leave school and find work. That has a direct impact on the country's future. So how did the planners respond to all this? Well, they didn't just note the challenges and move on. They dug deep to figure out the root causes and pull out some absolutely critical lessons for the future. So what really went wrong? Why did some targets get missed so badly while others were actually exceeded? The analysis points to several core issues. Turns out the report flagged a few key problems. A lot of the strategies were kind of fragmented, not really pulling in the same direction. The rules, especially around government spending, just weren't being strictly enforced. And the workforce's skills, well, they didn't always match what the modern economy needed. Plus, there was a bit of a disconnect between the central government and local authorities. And from all those challenges, they pulled 4 crucial lessons that have become the absolute foundation of the new plan. First, you've got to maintain stability. Second, get a much stronger grip on the big picture economy. Third, make the government itself run more efficiently. And fourth, base every single decision on solid data, not guesswork. And all of that brings us to the new game plan, the 10th 5-year plan. This is the roadmap for 2026 to 2030, and it's built directly on all those lessons from the past. And here is the official motto. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but the key words in there really tell you everything. Resilient, self-sufficient, green, and sustainable. That is the guiding philosophy for the next 5 years. So, they've structured the whole thing around 6 core outcomes. It's all about building an economy that can stand on its own 2 feet, developing a highly skilled workforce, improving the quality of life for citizens, protecting the environment, connecting better with the rest of the world, and, finally, running a more effective government. Okay, but why does a high-level government document like this actually matter to regular people? Well, because these goals, if they're achieved, they translate into real, tangible changes for the people of Laos. Let's break that down for a second. A self-sufficient economy? That means it's way less likely to get knocked around by global financial crises. High-quality human capital? That means better jobs and more opportunities for young people. Improved well-being means concrete progress in things like reducing poverty. And protecting the environment, well, that's about securing the nation's future. This is where the blueprint really hits the ground.
Look, the plan is ambitious, and the challenges are absolutely real. The last 5 years have proven that even the best laid plans can get thrown off course. So I guess the ultimate question is still out there. By learning from the past, can this new blueprint actually steer Laos towards a genuinely resilient and prosperous future? Only the next 5 years will tell.